I want to say this real quick. The chief walks in, all have to stand up at attention. Room! We're all like, whoa. Right then and there, it all began. Welcome back, baby. So today we are talking about drill school. Now, some people don't know it as drill school, but they call it recruit school or firefighter school, firefighter college. I'm not talking about pre-service firefighting college. I'm talking about to get hired by a fire department, and for the first 3 months of your employment, it is essentially training, but they label it as drill school or recruit school, whatever. So I've had the pleasure of being part of 2 recruit schools in my entire life. First one, Ottawa, second one, Vaughan. Now, let me take you back to the first recruit school that I went through, which was Ottawa Fire Services. I believe this was back in 2022, April, do I dare say 13th or 12th? I'm not sure. That was the first day of recruit school. Literally the day before or 2 days before was the Saturday, and I literally moved into Ottawa that day. First got there, I was renting Airbnbs. I told it in the last video, the story that happened. And essentially, I was moving from Ottawa, Vanier to Quebec, kind of trying to find my footing. And it's the first time in my life also that I was living alone, and now also having to go to recruit school the next day. I remember the day before, I drove by the area just to survey to see how long it would take me to get there and where exactly it was. Fast forward to the Monday, wake up in the morning, 6 a.m., probably a bit earlier because I was nervous. I don't really know if I slept the night before. And I'm pretty sure the timing was 7:45. We had to be in the classroom. I drove over to where it was, and the building just looked like a normal, almost like I don't want to say a school, but kind of like a normal city building. You could see in the back, there was a bigger parking lot and there was a couple burn towers, etc. Now, when I got there, I noticed that nobody was actually going in to the parking lot. And I remembered in the email, it said, do not enter the premises until, I believe it was 7:30 on the dot, and be in the classroom for 7:45, like I mentioned. So I'm like, where is everybody if no one's here? I looked across the street and there was this parking lot where there was like a shawarma restaurant over there, and everyone was parked there. I saw probably about like 25 cars just waiting there with people kind of looking out the window, looking nervous. So I'm like, oh yeah, these are my guys. Literally went over there. I said, is everyone here for, they're like, yeah, this is for Ottawa. I'm like, okay, cool. Sat there a little bit, nobody really talking, everybody just looking nervous. Eventually 7:30 hit and we all just, boom, one at a time, exited the parking lot, went into the facility. Keep in mind, this was in 2022, so COVID was still a thing. And through all the emails that we had, it was COVID protocol this, COVID protocol that, wear a mask at all times. Walk into the facility, and when we're there, we all sign in, put a mask on, and we see all of our uniforms are all lined up on the wall. We're all kind of looking for our names here, there, whatever. Our boots are there, helmets. It's kind of exciting. Now, go up the stairs to where the classroom was. I think it was on like the top floor that they had in the building. We're looking for our names, and where do we sit? Okay, so my last name is Ventura, and it's always been the last guy. So I was in the, right when you walk in, I was in the first, you make a left in the corner. So essentially right when you walk in was me. And I remember just sitting there nervous, looking at my sign that said Joseph instead of Joe. And I remember I was like, oh man, everyone's gonna call me Joseph now. Or it's gonna quickly go over to Ace or something like that. We're all sitting there, we're waiting, and then somebody walks in and he goes, okay guys, I wanna say this real quick. When the chief walks in, we all have to stand up at attention immediately. We're like, oh, okay, cool. He goes out the door, and I swear like 2 seconds later, the chief walked in, room, and then everybody stands up at attention. Whoa. Right then and there, it all began. The chief came in and he said a few words. Now, I should say it wasn't the chief of Ottawa Fire Services, it was the training department chief. There's multiple different chiefs, especially when you're a bigger department, you're gonna have multiple different chiefs for all different divisions. So the chief came in and he addressed us really quickly, said congratulations for being here, etc., etc. He was very kind, very nice. After that, he left and we were kind of left by ourselves for about 10 more minutes. And I remember feeling like it felt like the first day of school again. Everybody around that classroom, no one wanted to make eye contact. We were all very excited, and we were all maybe kind of trying to make a little bit of small talk here or there, but all in our best behavior at all times. Now, the first week of drill school, it wasn't what most people would expect. Everyone thinks the second you get there, it's now you're just in the fires and you're like lifting heavy shit and you're like breaking down doors. It wasn't like that. At first, it was very, I want to say like administrative, HR, kind of all in the books, all in the classroom, sitting down at your desk. Probably, if I'm being honest, I think the first 2 days was like 8 hours just from beginning to end, just watching PowerPoint presentations about mental health, about our insurance, about fire department, how it breaks down, the history of the fire department, Ottawa in general. And the stuff was pretty dry, but it was stuff that you had to get through just to get to the awesome stuff that we got to later on in the program. I will say though, on the first week, I remember, I think it was the third day that we were there, for some reason said, okay, everyone up, we're gonna go downstairs, we're gonna run a drill. And we're like, what do you mean we're gonna run a drill all of a sudden? Like, we were just sitting in the classroom all day. None of us were really dressed to do it. We're all wearing business casual clothes, by the way. So we're wearing like black, almost like dress pants, but like work casual dress pants. We're wearing like a button-down shirt. It has a bit of maybe short sleeve, whatever, polo kind of thing, collared shirt. And no one's really prepared to wear firefighting clothing right now. And they told us later on, it was kind of just to trip us up to see who would be on the ball to go do it. And we all had to do it regardless, but still. So we went downstairs, we got in our firefighting gear, and we went through a maze. I think that's all we did that day. We went through a maze in the facility in the basement. And it was one at a time. We all went through. I think at a certain point, someone else came into the maze with us, and we kind of did a tag team sort of thing just to try to find our way out. Remember, after I was drenched in sweat. We were all looking at each other after saying, what the fuck, where did that come from? I thought this whole week was classroom stuff. But it was a little bit of a fun interlude in between everything from sitting down, watching PowerPoints. It was actually a blessing. Second week came up. This is when we started to get a little bit more into the firefighting material and actually going out into the yard, being physical. Part of the program, I should also mention, there was something called a WFI program. And what that is essentially is just a really cool way of saying gym class. So every few days we'd go and do a workout, and some instructors, or they weren't instructors, they were firefighters that were not on shift that day. They came in to lead us through a group exercise workout. Actually really fun. I remember there's a few people in the class who weren't really physically fit at the beginning, and as the program went on, as the 12 weeks went on, these people got into some really good shape. I remember there's one guy preparing for his wedding, and he said that he was doing just a WFI, and he was getting into like a new tuxedo because he lost so much weight. He got into such good shape by the end of it. But in addition to this, if I have the schedule, I'm pretty sure I do have the schedule. I'll put it up right here just to show you what the first half and the second half of our class look like, just so you have a good idea. It was a 12-week program or 13-week program, I'm not sure. And every week there was different skills that we'd have to go through and learn at a time. So there would be hose drills, and there would be search and rescue, forcible entry, whole number of things, as you can see on that schedule right there. Second, third, and fourth week, you can see all the bonds within the class starting to form right away. And at first, I remember because of COVID, it was a little tough for all of us to kind of get to know each other. The weather wasn't that great outside, so we couldn't go outside and sit together. We all had to be inside in the classroom, and we had to put our masks on when we weren't eating and back off and on. I remember even one time we all tried to sit a little closer to each other. We all got in shit because of the COVID protocols. They were just so insane at the time. But as the program went on, we all got closer and closer to each other. And I also felt like a certain sense of camaraderie built between us as we did more evolutions out in the yard. And that's how the days would normally go. It would be a little bit of classroom. We learn like say about ladders. And then in the afternoon, we're going to go outside and we're going to throw ladders up, and we'll do sections. So we'll break the class down into platoons. That's what I should mention as well. The class was broken down to A, B, C, and D platoon. The class was of 22 people, so we're able to do that. I know bigger classes like Toronto probably can't do A, B, C, D because there's like literally 104 people in a class, right? So A platoon would say go throw ladders. B platoon would be doing some forcible entry. C platoon's doing some sort of getting dressed drill, and D platoon's doing tying knots or something like that. What we would do is we'd all be roughly at each station for about 40 minutes. Someone blow a whistle, we switch, and we all rotate until the afternoon's done. Now, people usually ask me when I was in these programs, they said, what was the culture like there? Like, what were the people like? How was it run? Was it military style? And one big thing in my Ottawa class is that, yeah, hell yeah. It was military from the jump. And I think the guy that was running the program, he was incredible. His name was Al, and he was ex-military from what I believe. So yeah, we had to be in class at this time. If anyone was late, like, you're fucking screwed. We had to march. We had to, that's another thing, marching. He made this rule that we couldn't have coffee in the class ever because we'd get dehydrated. And I'll come back to that in a second, but it was very strict. I really liked the way that it was run, to be completely honest. So as the weeks went on, there was some weeks that were just miscellaneous courses, kind of all bunched from a Monday to a Tuesday to a Thursday, whatever. But then there was some weeks that were just entire weeks of specific courses. There was one that was medical week. I believe that was an entire week, or maybe 3 or 4 days of just learning EMR, all those different techniques. And there was also an entire week where we did fire theory, where we actually went out to an off-campus site from our drill school, be inside sea-cans where they literally lit everything on fire. And we got to see all of the different phases of the growth of fire while putting it out as well. That was Barnsdale week, and I think that was in the second half of the 12 weeks that we were there. But the week that stands out the most was RIT Week. RIT Week, again, was off campus at, I believe, Station 43. I could be wrong about that. And if you don't know, RIT is Rapid Intervention Team. So if there's a down firefighter, it's a team that goes in to save that firefighter and all the rescue measures that come along with it. As you can imagine, this was a very important week where the skills and the expectations were very high. The reason I say everybody remembers it is because it was, quote unquote, they'd even call it this, the week from hell. Essentially, every day was harder, and every tactic that we were learning would build upon the next in terms of saving somebody's life if needed. Everything was built up so that on the last day, there would be a down firefighter inside of the tower, and we'd have to go in as a team, each individually, A, B, C, D platoon, to go rescue that firefighter. And I remember because the weather was so hot, we could only do one evolution. And I remember that. We could only do one in the morning because at night, or in the afternoon rather, the temperature got to like past 30 or 31 or something. It was an incredible week. It was very tough. The instructors were very, very tough on us. Some would say a little too tough, but regardless, we all learned a lot, and it was definitely the week where I saw a shift. It was, I think it was week 6, and that was the week where I saw a shift in the class. We all became brothers and sisters that week. All the bonds got strengthened. Everybody got closer. Everybody after class was like, let's go hang out. Let's go grab some food together. And you can tell that we all felt a closer bond after we'd been through such an incredible week together. I forgot to mention, as the program went on, we had written tests pretty much, I want to say at least once or twice a week. And whenever we had a written test, it wasn't just, one chapter. It was 3, maybe sometimes 4 chapters all on the same day, multiple choice. It was a lot. Studying for those tests, going through the IFSTA every night after school, it was a lot. It was a lot of work, but you get through it. As the weeks continued to go on, the last 2 weeks, I remember the second last week was testing week. So pretty much, again, we're running through stations, all A, B, C, D platoon. We're all going through different skills, whether it's ropes, whether it's getting dressed, whether it is RIT training, whether it is hose drills, hitting a hydrant, etc. We are all going through different skills and having to pass certain skills based on the criteria that we learned throughout the entire program. The final week was live burns, and this was the exciting week. So essentially, from what I remember, it was pretty much 4 days where we were outside in the yard and we would have mock fires every single day. I'm pretty sure we did about 4 a day each day, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And the Ottawa staff was incredible. They made it seem very realistic from the jump. We'd be sitting in class, the tones would go off, one platoon would run out into the truck, we'd go down and we'd get our tasks in the truck for what we're gonna have to do. We get to the tower, maybe one team was the ventilation team. Okay, I need you to go on the roof, I need you to ventilate, I need you to see what's inside. The next team, maybe they were the search and rescue team. They're doing VEIS, so they're climbing up the ladder, they go in, they search, and they find a victim inside they have to extricate. There's another team that's just in charge of CPR and medical, another team that's in charge of putting out a fire that's actually inside the tower, accountability team, etc., etc. Pretty much to show you each and every time what it's like if you were to go to a fire and what the setup is gonna be like. Great week, tons of fun. Can't say enough good things about this part of the week, and the coordinators really knocked it out of the park for this one. Amazing. People always ask me what is the worst part about going to drill school, and honestly, the worst part, I think everybody will say, is marching. If you don't know what marching is, just go on YouTube, look up military marching, firefighter marching, whatever, police marching, and essentially what it is it's just walking to the beat of a drum, but you're walking military style. So your arms are by your side like this, and your legs are just like kind of straight, or you gotta keep them straight as hell, and you're gonna be wearing your uniform, but it's your dress uniform, not your firefighter uniform. It's gonna be like your hat and your tie, everything. Arms are going like this as you're going, and you're trying to walk in coordination with everybody. And when we practice, people were off time, people are going fast, people are going slow, people are literally walking out of sync with other people. Since we had Al, who was ex-military, the guy was so strict about how we did it. Like, he overtrained us to the max, but it was still very, very good. And the reason I say it's the worst part is because it's the funniest part. And then again, it kind of makes it the best part because it's just another fun experience that you have with everybody in the class. And yeah, when people ask me now, what's the best part of drill school? Yeah, it's 100% the people that you meet, the people that you're with, and the bonds that you build along the way. So when you're doing stuff like marching, like doing live fires, and you're sweating and you're like, oh my God, this drill school has to end. You're looking around and you're seeing everybody else is in the exact same boat. And that was kind of the feel that we had during the second half. We're just tired. We want it to be done. We're like, oh my God, when is this going to be over? Like, I just want to get on the floors already. And everyone's looking at each other like, dude, just come on. You got this. Just show up tomorrow. Come on. You can do this. Push through. We have 2 more weeks, bro. You did already 10, 11 weeks. You can do the final 2. Come on, let's go. And that part right there, the camaraderie is unmatched. Graduation rolled around and it was absolutely incredible. We go to an event hall that is obviously off campus. We marched our way in. There's the big drummer. Everyone's in their dress uniform. It's really awesome. And I will say the best part of this is this guy in our class, he was the class valedictorian. He made the best speech I think I've ever seen anybody make in any context in my life. Like, I'm talking Barack Obama levels. Like, this was an incredible speech. I'm pretty sure he was a former teacher, so he's used to speaking in front of people. But not only was the speech good, but it was funny, and it was also, I don't know if anyone caught it, but he was putting in personal jokes for the boys. And I won't even say some of the things that he said in there, but he made it so that you could say it in front of your mom and dad, and they had no idea, but everyone in the class was like, oh man, did he really just say that? And I think it was the best speech I've ever seen. So Ty, yo, bro, hats off to you, brother. Incredible. Graduation obviously was the last day of drill school in Ottawa. Now, Vaughan actually started in February. It's same duration, I believe, as the Ottawa one, 12, 13 weeks kind of thing. But the only thing is that, like I said, it started in February. So if you look outside in February, it's freezing out there. And if you go and you run hydrants, like everything freezes over very quickly. So for the first half of our, the first 6 weeks, we weren't really running drills out in the yard. I remember it got to the 4th week point and everyone was kind of looking at each other like, hey, like, are we gonna touch a hose at this point or whatever? And then 6 weeks came up and then they kind of had the same sentiment because we hadn't done that yet. Eventually in the second half, we did obviously get more hands-on. The first week with Vaughan, it was definitely a little different than what I experienced in Ottawa. What I noticed at first is it was a little bit more laid back. I think the reason for this was, again, just because the coordinators weren't ex-military. It definitely plays a role in how the program is gonna be run by the individual who is running it, obviously. Like, for instance, I remember, like I said, in Ottawa, we weren't even allowed to bring our own personal coffee to class. In Vaughan, I remember in the first week, one of the coordinators brought in a coffee machine into the classroom and said, hey, this is for you guys. Here's a bunch of mugs. You guys can just have coffee whenever you want. I remember I looked at that coffee machine for 6 weeks and I never touched it because I thought it was a trick. I swear to God, I was so scarred from Ottawa, from all the little things, the little like nitpicky things that we had to do every single day, that I thought this was a trick. So every time someone would go up and grab coffee, I'm like, oh, that guy's like, oh bro, that guy's gonna, no. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a trick. It was just more laid back of an atmosphere. So after the first 6 weeks, the program really picked up as the weather got better, we were able to go outside. And I know it sounds like, okay, the first 6 weeks we're in the classroom. It's not like we were doing nothing. We were doing all the theory that was needed. And the second half, it was pretty heavy in terms of all of the things we were doing. We were out there literally every single day. Aim drills, hose drills, hydrant drills, RIT drills, etc. People ask me what was the best part of this program. Hands down, no debate about it, was the medical training. There was an individual there who was the captain that taught us all of the medical training throughout our time there. And what I'll say about the way that he taught was really the only expression you could use is up and beyond. He worked his ass off day in and day out to bring us new material, innovative material, every single time. He would run us through medical scenarios. Okay, you're in this scenario, someone's down, and what do you do? And at first, obviously, they started very easy, very simple. As the program progressed, they kept getting more complex. He goes, oh, did you notice the thing that's over here? I'm like, no, I didn't even see that. He goes, oh, well, maybe next time you got to survey everything, explaining this or that or this or that. And every single time we'd go, he'd step it up just a little bit. Not too much to the point where we wouldn't be able to grasp it, to the point where we were learning and growing every single time we did an evolution with this instructor. There was even one where he went into the burn tower and he had the dummy, the medical dummy, hanging on a rope. And I'm like, oh, this, like, honestly, it was like, wow, this is like such an interesting scenario to be in, to go through with training. And nothing against the staff, the medical staff in Ottawa, but I just think that this guy put in so much effort into what he was teaching us, and it was completely unmatched. It was incredible. And till this day, it was probably some of the best medical, no, fuck it. It was the best medical training I've ever had by any instructor ever, period. Incredible, man. Great guy too. Everyone thought he was like scary, but he was not scary. That guy was super cool. He looked scary though. So as time went on, the program began to wrap up, and you could tell at the end, it was the same sentiment as it was in Ottawa. Tired, we want to get out of here. Camaraderie's building, it's already been built. We're all good with each other. We're like, let's just get out of here. Graduation came, it was incredible. Another amazing speech by the valedictorian, incredible. But the main takeaways I have from being in both drill schools are this. Different programs have much different ways of training their recruits. Now, yes, there was one program that was slightly harder and one that was slightly easier, but there was pros and cons to each. Having a program that is quote unquote harder, I don't necessarily think it means it's better, because some people were just yelling at you more and demanding you to do things quicker, faster, and whatever. But I do believe that it is the effort that the individuals put in to teach you. It is the time they spend with you. It's when I say, oh, by the way, I don't understand this. Can you sit with me for like 10 minutes to help me explain this? It's, oh, you were sick that day? Here, let me take you through it. It's, oh, in the morning, Cap, I don't understand how to throw this ladder up properly or do forcible entry. Can you come out into the bay and help me see how to do it properly? Yeah, sure. Give me 2 minutes. Boom, they come out and they're now taking their own time to teach us even more, going up and beyond. So yeah, sometimes it's not always about how hard you're pushed, but it's about how hard the individuals that are teaching you are willing to push and help you along the way. Both Ottawa and Vaughan, I will say, the instructors were absolutely incredible to help get you there. So if anybody's in a drill school right now, or maybe they're watching this in the future and they're gonna be in a drill school soon, best advice to you is to always show up early, ask for extra help when you need, but in addition to that, understand that failure is a huge part of the process and you're learning. If you fuck up, you fuck up. Big deal. Everybody fucks up. In addition to that, enjoy the time that you're there. Spend it with the people that are in your class. Get to know them. Those people will be like brothers and sisters with you for life. I'm not with Ottawa or Vaughan anymore, and I still talk to those people on the regular. If you're one of those guys who's in class right now and you're like, oh, I just want this to be over. I hate all this shit. This is fucking bullshit. I should be on the floors already. Shut the fuck up. Enjoy your time there. You're never gonna get this time back in your life. Enjoy it. Thank you for watching, and God bless, baby. Woo!